You're listening to the I'm Busy Being Awesome podcast with Paula Engebretson, episode number 289. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. What's happening? How are you? I am so glad you're here today. This episode was so much fun for me to put together, and I hope that you enjoy it as much as I did putting it together. So today, what we're going to talk about are the top 8 resources that are making my ADHD life a little bit easier this season. Now, this collection of resources, I gotta tell you, they're super random tools, random resources, but all of them, the uniting theme is that they are all helping me make my day-to-day a little more enjoyable. They help me lighten the cognitive load just a little bit. A couple are more business, work related, but it's a really wide array. And I hope that as you listen, maybe one or two of them will stand out to you and give you some ideas or spark some new ways that you might approach what you have for yourself. And as always, if you have resources that are making a difference in your life and lightening your cognitive load, I would love to hear about them. Please do reach out. Let me know. We can connect over on Instagram. I am at I'm Busy Being Awesome. Send me a DM, leave a comment on any of the posts for this episode. I would love to hear about it. I love collecting new resources, new ideas, new ways that our incredible community is building in those support, that scaffolding for our ADHD brains. So let me know what's going on for you. What is working for you? And with all of that, I'll share my top 8 that are really working for me this season. And the first of which is the app called Libby. Okay, so some of you may have already heard of Libby or you already have this app, but for those of you who are unfamiliar with it, essentially it is this incredible app that connects to your local library. Okay, so it connects to your library and all of their audiobooks and ebooks, and it's all for free. It's like having the entire library in your pocket, in your phone. And essentially, you just sign in with your library card, and then you can browse through thousands of different items, ebook, audiobook, whatever, and you can download them and borrow them. And it's so incredible that it's right there for free. There's another one called Hoopla, Hoopla, that is also connected to my library. Some people say that they don't have it in their area, but I'll just kind of flag that one too in case you happen to have Hoopla in your area. But I'm telling you, having the library in your pocket and all of these audiobooks, it's just such a great pairing for parallel tasking when you're walking or cleaning or driving or crocheting or doing puzzles or folding laundry or what have you. Being able to pull up an audiobook and listen alongside it is just incredible, right? And in addition, there is the thrill of being able to request these books and research different books and things without the added price tag of Audible. Instead, you get to support your local library. Heck yes. And one other thing that I really love about the Libby app, I'll also mention this is on Audible and Hoopla as well. So generally, one of the things that I love that is really great for my ADHD brain is the sleep timer feature. So I think this is such a great resource when it's time for me to go to sleep and I need a cue. So for myself, I have this really comfy chair that sits in the corner of my bedroom. I love to sit there and read and crochet and whatever. And at night, I generally like to take about 30 minutes to kind of wind down my mind, be in some dim lighting, and go to bed. And so during those 30-ish minutes, I tend to crochet while listening to some sort of book that I have going at the moment. And then I journal a couple of lines in my journal. And I don't keep my phone in the bedroom because otherwise I would never go to bed. So what I do is I set the sleep timer on my Libby app. And then when the book goes off, that is the cue to my brain, which is, hey, time to stop crocheting, write a couple of lines in the journal, and then turn out the light. This is so powerful for me because it prevents me from slipping into hyperfocus, which is really easy for me to do if I'm doing some sort of crochet pattern I'm really into. And if I don't do this, I will suddenly look up and realize I've finished half a book and it's past midnight, and that's not an ideal situation when I have an early wake time. So using that sleep function builds a sense of structure, and it makes it a lot easier for me to kind of relax and wind down at the end of the day, because I'm not trying to keep track of the time. I just know when the book turns off, that's been 25 minutes, write a couple of sentences, go to bed. So the Libby app, Hoopla, the sleep timer, all of these things, I love them. They are definitely making my ADHD life way better this season. Number 2, Speechify. Okay, so this is kind of along the same lines, but I am obsessed with this app. I think it's phenomenal. So Speechify is an app that turns written text into audio. So this is something if you have a long article that you want to read, or some emails, or if I want to read through some writing that I've done and I want someone to read it back to me, and it's not just my eyes reading through it, you can use Speechify to read, frankly, anything, any type of document. And for some ADHD brains, certainly for my ADHD brain, reading is a really draining demand on my executive functions, right? On that working memory. And it's such a challenge to stay focused, to remember what I just read. Before I was medicated and had my supports in place, I would just fall asleep when I was reading because my brain was working so hard, and then I had no energy. I'd fall asleep. So knowing that when you can have a support in place like Speechify, where you can have the text in front of you and then you have somebody reading it accurately alongside that text, it's incredibly powerful. And one of the things that I think is really powerful with Speechify is that you can take pictures of written words. Okay, so if I have a book or something, you can take a picture with your phone and it will turn that picture into written text that it will then read out loud, right? So sometimes if I have a podcast idea and I'm writing it out in long form, because sometimes that's how my brain's working, that's the flow I'm in, and I have a notebook and I'm just writing out all these ideas, what I'll do is I'll take that camera with the Speechify app, snap a picture, and then it will turn it into written text and will read it back to me so I can kind of hear how the ideas are unfolding. And you get to choose the different voices. There's tons of different voices. I have Gwyneth Paltrow read me everything. You could have Snoop read you everything. I mean, come on, anything from textbooks to random scribbled ideas, it'll read it to you. It's like having this personal assistant in your pocket who will read anything to you. So if you have a brain like mine that has a harder time kind of remembering what you're reading or staying focused on what you're reading, using something like Speechify is incredibly powerful, and I highly recommend checking it out. And I'll mention, I will link to all of these different resources in the show notes. Some of them I have affiliate links for, so I'll note that too in case you get a special discount or anything, but I'll have everything linked in the show notes. So if you want to check any of them out, they'll be right there for you. Okay, so that was number 2. Number 3 is Spotify. And more specifically, listening to Spotify based on my mood. Now, for anybody who might be unfamiliar with Spotify, this is an app, and it's essentially a music and podcast app, kind of like Amazon Music or Pandora, that kind of thing. And I like Spotify for a whole bunch of different reasons in regard to being able to listen to, whatever I want to, basically. But more specifically, and the reason why it's been such a game changer for me right now through this ADHD lens is that Spotify is one of my go-to supports for emotional regulation. So if I am experiencing big feelings, whether I'm feeling sad or angry or anxious or grief or whatever, I can go to Spotify, and what I do is search for that mood of music. So I'll go to the search section, and if I'm feeling sad, I'll type in sad music, and it will generate a playlist for me that helps me lean into that experience of sadness that I'm having and really feel it so I can move through it rather than continuing to push it away and shove it down. If I'm feeling, angsty, I can type in angsty music and let that playlist pop up. I listen to it. It helps me get out of my head, drop into my body, and actually feel the feelings. And I might do that by dancing to it. You all know I love to dance to music, or walking it out, just breathing with it, whatever it is. I kind of listen to what my body needs when I pull up that music. But it is such a powerful way to help me connect with what I'm feeling, move through it instead of shoving it down, and then come out on the other side feeling so much lighter. So if you're someone who keeps hearing people say, oh, feel your feelings, stop shoving your feelings away. And you're sitting here thinking, yeah, okay, but what does that even mean? How do I do that? You might try pulling up your Spotify app and searching by mood. See what happens. Okay. The next resource that is just my favorite thing right now. And by the way, these are in no particular order. These are just 8 things that are my favorites. The next thing is my Shark robot vacuum. This vacuum, it's essentially like the Shark version of the Roomba. So you can think of that too if you're like, what is a Shark robot? Essentially, it is like having this little helper that takes vacuuming off my plate. Oh my gosh, it just popped in my head. It's kind of like having Rosie from the Jetsons living in your home, helping with vacuuming, for any of you who happen to remember that cartoon. But essentially, I put my little Shark robot vacuum on a schedule, and it follows it. It follows that schedule way better than my brain. And every day it goes to work and it cleans up any crumbs or dust and pet hair. It is so good. Let me tell you, with Bruno shedding like it's going out of style, this little Shark vacuum is a lifesaver. And it's not just about convenience. It's also about the timing. So vacuuming, the noise of it generally can be kind of grating for me. I can find myself getting kind of overstimulated from it. And so I love that I can set a schedule for my vacuum to run at 3 a.m. when I'm not awake. And when I wake up and come downstairs, the floors are clean and I didn't have to hear any of it. And then on top of all of this, it is removing the mental load as well, right? I don't have to remember to do it. I don't have to find the time and actually follow through on it. I just have my little robot, my little Shark robot helping out. And it is such a rock star. It is so very helpful. I'll link to the versions that I have in case you want to check it out. But I'm telling you, whatever type of robot vacuum it is, I'm sure they're all phenomenal now. It's been out for a long time. Ugh, such an incredible investment, especially if you have a pet. Okay, or a pet that sheds. Number 5, this is going to sound weird. You ready? I'm telling you, this is just a random list. Number 5, the thing that is making my ADHD life so much better is the bed jet. What? What the heck is that? Let me tell you, the bed jet has been so powerful for me in getting better sleep, especially because I am a ridiculously hot sleeper. I have always run hot at night ever since I was a little kid, which is ironic because during the day I'm freezing cold. I don't know what's happening. Apparently my body just saves all the heat for at night, so I can't sleep. But whatever the reason, sleeping through the night has always been an incredible struggle. I wake up kicking off the sheets and I'm super overheated and I'm tangled up in them and I'm restless and whatever. Sleep and I have just not been great friends for a long time. And I have heard people, especially on different podcasts and everything, raving about actually not bed jet, but something called 8 Sleep. If you listen to a lot of podcasts, I'm sure you've heard them, sponsoring different episodes or whatever. And every time I looked into it, I couldn't justify the price tag for it, the $4,000 or $5,000 or whatever. And so naturally, I had a conversation with my good friend, ChatGPT, to explore alternatives. I was like, what else is there? I hear about 8 Sleep all the time. What are some alternatives? There must be alternatives. And BedJet kept coming up. So this piques my interest. And I start looking into it. And on the surface, I'm not going to lie, it seems kind of weird. Basically, what BedJet is this fan that you put down at the bottom of the bed, the foot of the bed, and it blows air underneath the sheets to help adjust the temperature. So if you need it to be warmer or cooler, it will blow warmer or cooler air, and you can set it for, 70 degrees or 100 degrees or 66 degrees or whatever. And I know that might sound kind of strange. You're just putting a fan at the foot of your bed, like a heated fan or a cooling fan. Yes, that's what it is. And it's so effective. And the thing that I love the most is that you can program the temperatures to change throughout the night. Okay, so for example, like I said, I tend to wake up really hot, and it usually happens somewhere between the 1 and 3 o'clock hour. So what I do is in the program timing at about 12:45, I have the fan start dropping in temperature and kick up a little bit higher in speed. Okay, so you can have it from like 1% to 100% in speed. And so I have it move up a little bit higher in the percentage, drop down in temperature a little bit, and it's helping me regulate my body temperature so that I am staying cool during those hours. And at first, I just bought the fan system. And I was like, okay, I mean, I see how this is helpful. I like it, but also I just kind of feel like sometimes my feet are just cold. I feel like I'm missing something. And then I added in the second component, which is this fitted, or not fitted, but it's a sheet that's fitted for the bed jet that you're supposed to use with it. And on the website and everything, they're like, you can use it with or without the sheet. We highly recommend using the sheet. It makes it better. And I was like, I'll just buy the fan. It's fine. No, they're serious. Buy the sheet, and it makes all the difference, because essentially it helps to evenly distribute whatever temperature air is getting blown through the bed, so that if you, let's say you sleep cold, let's say you're the opposite of me, you sleep really cold, and it starts blowing warm air through the sheet, that way it's not like just your feet that are hot, it evenly distributes it all the way up throughout the bed. So all of your body is getting that same temperature. And it made such a big difference. So that pairing of the actual bed jet with the sheet that they recommend, even though they say, you don't have to use it, we highly recommend it, they mean it here. It does make a big difference. I'm telling you, it is so powerful. They also have a dual temperature control option for people if you share a bed with someone who has different preferences. Maybe you're a hot sleeper like me, and the person who you share your bed with is a really cold sleeper or whatever. They also have a dual temperature setting. But again, without the sheet, yes, it technically works, but it is not nearly as impactful. It is so powerful to bring in that sheet as well. It was key for me. And as you know, if you've been listening to this for a while, I think I did an episode like this, my favorite tech tools or whatever, my favorite apps, a while ago, and I shared 2 sleep apps that I use for tracking my sleep. One of them is called Auto Sleep. One of them is called Rise Sleep. And in both of those, since I've been using the bed jet with that sheet addition, I have seen such a clear increase in my sleep quality. I mean, for the first time in, I literally don't know how long, maybe since childhood, maybe, I've actually slept through the night. It's not every night, but I am sleeping through the night more often, and I genuinely don't remember the last time this has happened, maybe since I was a kid. And as we know, sleep is like the foundation for everything, especially in terms of our executive functions cooperating. And so when we're getting better rest, that means more focus, more energy, more ability to regulate our emotions during the day. And I can feel such a difference when I'm waking up after that solid night of uninterrupted sleep. Now, is the bed jet cheap? No. Okay. Again, compared to something like 8 Sleep, it is certainly more affordable. I think when I bought mine, it was something around 400 something for the single temperature system. But for me, I am telling you, It was an investment that I would happily save for again. And if you are interested, I do have a referral code that'll give you 10% off. I'll include that in the show notes, because if sleep is a challenge for you and it's because you have temperature issues, like you're either really cold when you sleep or you wake up really hot like I do, it's worth trying. That's all I'm going to say. It has been so impactful for me. All right. So that was number 5. Number 6, also heat related or temperature related. Let me figure out how to say this. I think it's the Aurora heated vest. I'm actually wearing it right now, should you be watching the YouTube video. But my dad drew my name for Christmas this year. We draw names with my family, and he got me this Aurora vest. I have never heard of this type of vest before, but let me tell you, it's incredible. And it's a little bit funny because, as I just mentioned, I am a super hot sleeper, but during the day, I am always incredibly cold. I run super cold during the day, super hot at night, always freezing during the day. And the Aurora vest is a heated vest. What? Yes, it is a heated vest that is just this cozy bit of delight that I get to wear. Especially if you are someone who's cold, I am telling you, it is just delightful. It's this lightweight vest. It's super soft, and it has these built-in heating elements. There's one that's like in the back, in between your shoulder blades, and then 2 kind of down right where the front pockets are. And you can control it with, let's see, get my hair out of the way here, this little button. You just turn it on, and then you can adjust the heat. There's like a low, medium, and high heat, and it heats you. It is so convenient. It heats up quickly. It is perfect for someone who always runs cold like me, or my office is above our garage. So in a Minnesota winter, it's extra cold in this office. So I'm not having to pile on a bunch of layers. I can just put on this vest and I stay super toasty. Heck yes. This, again, I know this might sound a bit extra, especially if you don't deal with temperature issues, but for myself, it's more than just trying to stay warm because I'm a little cold. It also helps me to stay focused, because comfort and focus go so hand in hand for me. If I'm really physically uncomfortable, it's hard for my brain to focus on the thing I want to be doing, right? If I'm cold and my hands are freezing and I'm just like shivering, I'm distracted. I'm thinking about how uncomfortable and cold I am. I'm fidgety. I'm like trying to warm up. But the vest helps keep me cozy and warm so that I can concentrate on the thing that actually matters. And it's, lightweight, it's not bulky, so I can just wear it on anything. Like I can put it on over anything and it keeps me toasty. It is such a great gift. It's one of the best gifts I've ever gotten. It's like walking around in this warm hug all day. Yes, please. At least in the winter. Okay, that was number 6. Number 7, this one's a little bit more traditional. This is Todoist. Okay. I know I've mentioned Todoist a handful of times already on different episodes of the podcast, but I mean, when I'm doing a list of the top things that are saving my ADHD life right now, this is still one of them. I have not changed. I can't skip Todoist because it does play such a big role in helping me keep all of my things organized, all the things I want to do, especially now that I'm working with more than just myself. When it was just myself, in my business, I could use my paper planner. But now that I'm working with someone else in a different part of the country, they can't see what's on my to-do list download in my paper planner. So having something like Todoist has been really impactful. Again, because I've talked about it in other places, I'll do just kind of a quick overview here in case you haven't heard me mention it. But Todoist is my go-to app for keeping track of essentially everything I want to do, especially in my business, but I do my personal stuff in there as well. And then in addition to the tasks and things, it's also a place to hold all of my ideas, all of my projects that I might want to do, but I don't want to forget. Right? I don't have time to do all of it now. I can't do everything at once. So it's also a place for me to capture and hold all of my different ideas, my brilliant ideas list. Okay, so Todoist kind of acts like my external brain, and it helps me stay organized when my brain would prefer to go in 150,000 different directions at once. And with Todoist, I mean, I love how easy it is to use. You can make lists for your different projects, set deadlines, prioritize tasks, break things down into smaller steps, like I often talk about. I will do a deep dive into Todoist for a specific episode. I've mentioned that earlier, and I have that in the docket now. But what I really love about Todoist is how flexible it is and how it can really work for whatever it is you're trying to organize. So for example, if I'm really kind of in my thoroughbred energy, as a throwback to one of our more recent episodes, if I'm in that thoroughbred energy and in intense hyper focus on one project, I can then use Todoist and kind of build my schedule around that to honor the thoroughbred, to build in some rest time, and then to make sure that the other non-negotiables don't slip through the cracks when I have the space and the energy to tend to them as well. And as I mentioned, Todoist is so great for capturing ideas when they pop up so they don't, disappear into the void. And I love how it pairs really well with the iPhone as well. It probably does with Android too. I just don't have an Android. But with the iPhone, I just have a little widget right on, let's see if I can show it to you here, right on my home screen, right there. I can just tap it and it opens right up. And when I say home screen, for those of you listening, it's the lock screen. So I don't even have to unlock my phone. But there's just a little widget right on the front. I tap that, it opens up, and I can add the task or the idea or whatever with one tap. It's so convenient. So I don't have to worry about forgetting anything important. So essentially, Todoist just helps me take all the ideas and swirls of tasks and things and put them into one place and organize it so that anyone else I'm working with can also see what was swirling in my brain in an organized place. And it's just really effective. So again, I will link to Todoist as well in the show notes if you want to check that out. I do have an affiliate link for this one where you'll get a couple months of the pro plan for free if you want to try it out. And again, keep an eye out. I'll be doing a deep dive into Todoist and how I use it specifically in case you're interested in that. All right, number 8, the last one on the list for this round is a platform or an app, I guess, called Fathom. So this last strategy is a little bit more, I guess, business or work specific, but honestly, it is such a phenomenal resource for anybody who ever attends or holds any type of online meeting, whether it's a Zoom meeting or Microsoft Teams or Google Meet or whatever other platforms are out there. Okay. So Fathom is this incredible note-taking tool for anybody who might be running online meetings or calls or attending them, because it's taking the pressure off of trying to remember every single tiny detail and take the perfect notes while you're there in the meeting. Instead, what it's doing as you're there present on the call is it's automatically recording and transcribing and highlighting the key moments in that meeting. So action items, decisions made, highlights, key takeaways, anything that you want to have captured, it captures for you without you having to stop and make notes and clean up the notes and make sure that they're clear for everybody. And for me, this has been such a loving gift for my brain as a coach, because whenever I'm on my coaching calls with my one-on-one clients or in my group calls, like with We're Busy Being Awesome, I mean, as the coach, I want to be really invested in the conversation. I don't want to be worrying about what my notes look like, right? I want to focus on the conversation. I want to focus on my client's energy and their affect. I don't want to worry about the spelling of some note or whatever, or try and recall everything later. Lord knows my working memory won't want to cooperate there. So Fathom is such an incredible resource that captures both the overarching themes, like here are the main things that we explored on the call, as well as all the smaller details and the action items throughout that call. And it's written in really clear, concise language, so you don't have to worry, again, if you're writing your own notes, trying to type them up and make them clear, and are they concise, and are they spelled correctly, and is the formatting right? Fathom takes care of all of that. And one of my favorite features with Fathom is that you can prompt it with specific directions so that it will shape the call notes that it takes based on the type of meeting you are having and what you want recorded. So for my coaching calls, I gave Fathom specific directions to have it highlight client wins, to create reflection questions and also next action steps. Okay, so this way, in addition to capturing all the notes and the main topics and the themes and things, we are also making sure to capture in the notes all of the successes so we can celebrate those successes and document any meaningful questions for journaling, for further reflection, that kind of thing. It is such a powerful tool. It is so incredibly accurate. I'm telling you, if you ever use online meetings, give it a try. And also, I want to mention what I love about Fathom, because I did a lot of research into different note-taking supports out there. Fathom has a really strong focus on privacy. Okay, so they don't share your information. They don't use your calls to kind of train their machines to get better at what they do or whatever. What you record is yours. It belongs to you. It is not used in other ways. So they're really careful of privacy. They're not using your information, your content, the call information to teach their machines or to share or improve their product or anything like that. So if you are curious to try Fathom, again, I highly encourage it. I have a code that will give you 3 months of the Pro plan for free. And the best part, which I think should just be true for all trials, is you don't have to enter your credit card information. Okay, so you just sign up and you get the free 3 months using that code. And then if you decide not to keep the Pro plan, it'll just drop you down to the free version unless you choose to upgrade to the Pro. I do use the Pro version myself, but honestly, I think for many people who just want someone to take notes for you on calls and things, the free version would be more than enough. It is so robust. It is such a remarkable tool, and I've found it to be really invaluable in my work. And I get feedback from my clients all the time of like, this is so helpful. I love seeing everything so laid out and being able to refer back to things. It's really helpful because, as we know, as ADHDers, recalling details and kind of sifting through meeting notes and trying to write them up and make sure they're formatted correctly. I mean, that's just so draining at best and a nightmare for ADHD brains at worst. So this tool really captures and organizes that information for you, and it reduces the cognitive load. It frees up your brain to be able to focus on other important areas. So there you have it, my friends. Those are my top 8 favorite resources right now that are just making my ADHD life a little bit easier this season. And I'll do just a quick recap one more time. Libby is number 1 in no particular order, but Libby and Hoopla, I should say, which are audiobooks and ebooks connected to your library, and being able to set a timer if you are listening to your audiobooks to help ensure that you're not getting into hyperfocus and kind of losing track of time. Such a powerful support. Number 2, Speechify, which helps you turn any type of written text into audio and will read it back to you. Number 3, listening to Spotify by mood. This is so helpful for emotional regulation, and you can create those playlists tailored to whatever feelings you're experiencing to help you move through them. Number 4, BedJet. It is all about the temperature control for better sleep quality, for being able to stay asleep throughout the night so that you can be more focused, have more energy, have an easier time regulating emotions during the day. Number 5, the Shark vacuum, a little robot vacuum, our little Rosie from the Jetsons, who is there to help do the cleaning when I don't want to or when I'd prefer to sleep. Number 6, the Ororo heated vest, which is just so fun. If you are someone like me who tends to run cold throughout the day, having that vest is everything. Number 7, Todoist, which is basically my external brain for managing tasks and projects and ideas and things with flexibility. And finally, number 8, Fathom, which is, of all the ones that I've played around with, the most effective meeting transcription support, right? There for taking notes and highlighting key moments so that I can really stay focused on the call without worrying about capturing everything perfectly. So each of these tools has been really supportive recently in helping my brain stay focused, perform at its best in all of these different ways. And they're just making a really big difference in my day-to-day life. And I hope that one or two of them will be useful for you too, or will inspire you to maybe use something else that you already have in a slightly different way. So if you want to check out any of these resources, you can pop through the show notes in your podcast player or below. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'll have all of those links there. Some of them are affiliate links that might have a discount code or something, so I'll be sure to note that in the show notes as well. And if you give them a try, I would love to hear about it. Seriously, let me know. Over on Instagram, I'm at I'm Busy Being Awesome. Similarly, if you have different tools that are just saving your ADHD life right now, please send them my way. I always love to hear more. So let's connect. Again, I'm over on Instagram at I'm Busy Being Awesome. Send me a DM, comment on one of the posts for this episode. I can't wait to hear from you. All right, my friends, that's going to do it for us this week. And if you're ready to take what we talk about here on the podcast even deeper, if you're ready to learn how to support your ADHD in a way that works best for you, I invite you to check out today's show notes where you can learn more about how we can work together, both one-on-one and in my small group coaching program called We're Busy Being Awesome. Also, if you want to learn my simple step-by-step approach to locking in a routine and making it stick, be sure to check out my free course called the ADHD Routine Revamp. Again, you can tap through the link in the show notes or head to I'mBusyBeingAwesome.com/routine to sign up. Until next time, keep being awesome. I'll talk with you soon.